Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So a few days ago at Gamescom, the new Saints Row reboot was officially revealed. They released a CGI trailer with all the new characters and the new storyline set up, and they also revealed some gameplay footage. Now I'm gonna go based off the fact that you clicked on the video, you saw the thumbnail, and you've probably seen the like to dislike ratio on the trailers that have been released thus far, and you've probably seen some content creators make some pretty interesting critiques about the trailers that have come out.
Yeah, this is the most anti-Saints Row thing I've ever seen. And that is saying something.
Let's cut to the chase. I'm going to talk about this new Saints Row reboot announcement and why I am absolutely worried about it. Let me give you a little context with me and my history with the Saints Row franchise. I started playing Saints Row back in 2014. Ironically, it wasn't Saints Row 4 that was my first game that I ever played. It was actually Saints Row the 3rd. Through Xbox Live Gold, the game was available to be played for free, and me and my best friend wound up picking up the game, not really knowing anything about it. This is around the time that GTA 5 had been out for, I want to say, roughly a year. Me and my best friend, we were just really interested in wanting to play a game that was like GTA 5 or play GTA 5 for that matter, but we were too young and our parents really just didn't want us playing GTA 5, despite the fact that they were letting us play games like Call of Duty and Halo and, I don't know, whatever else was out at the time that was still pretty graphic. And to keep a long story short, our substitute for Grand Theft Auto being Saints Row, we wound up playing Saints Row 3 for a very long time until we wound up playing Saints Row 4, and I went out of my own way to play Gat Out of Hell. And that was about it for me with the Saints Row franchise, because I just thought, you know, Saints Row 1 and Saints Row 2 probably aren't going to be as good as these games, because they looked older, they looked dated, and I really just wasn't interested in playing those games. And my goodness, was that the biggest mistake of my life, because honestly, Saints Row 2 has become one of my absolute all-time favorite games. Like I said, I was very hesitant to play this game because it was very different from the Saints Row that I had known up to that point, that being Saints Row 3, 4, and Gat Out of Hell. The gameplay was just really different. It was very grounded, but it was also very chaotic and very fun, had that Saints Row formula that I knew up to that point. And despite the fact that at that point the game was at least 6, 7, 8 years old, the gameplay felt fresh, it felt new, and the story was just absolutely amazing. Anyways, that's my history with the Saints Row franchise. I've played every single game in the mainline series of the Saints Row franchise. I've played Agents of Mayhem, even though I don't really consider that a Saints Row game, and that game is complete dog shit. And I've watched various developer live streams where they have shown off unreleased games like Saints Row Undercover and Saints Row the Cooler. Let's get into the main point of this video. I'm going to be talking about why the new Saints Row reboot that is supposed to come out in February 2022 is very worrisome to me, and why I have a feeling it's not going to be that successful. Look at these characters and tell me that you find any of these characters any bit interesting in the slightest. These characters are written as college students trying to pay off their student loans. And thus, to pay off the student loans, they have to start a violent street gang to accomplish that motive. Now, Saints Row has seen some pretty bad writing.
I'm gonna shoot the devil in the face.
I think you might be skipping some details.
No, I said in the face. Hey, Satan!
But by Volition, this is the character arc that we have gotten for these 4 to 5 main characters that have already been shown off in the trailer. And how dare you, Volition, to even have the audacity to take this character arc and put it on these characters and call it a Saints Row game. Now look, I get this is a reboot and they can't use the same characters for the entire reboot. You know, if they put Johnny Gat or Shondi or Pierce and just all of the main Saints cast in the game again, honestly, I don't think too many people would complain, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt to have some new characters here and there. But what I'm getting at here is the fact of the matter is that at this current moment, we have no clue which characters from the original Saints Row are going to be repurposed or rewritten for this new story, and how they're going to play into the narrative, if there are any at all. And if there aren't any at all that are rewritten or repurposed for this story, this game is going to bomb seriously bad. And I'm not even just talking about the game sales itself. It's almost safe to say that Volition is pretty much at the end of their ropes when it comes to putting out these types of games, because if this game bombs, they're pretty much screwed. If you guys remember Agents of Mayhem that came out in 2017, that game at launch sold about over 300,000 copies, and was a commercial failure. If this fails, Volition is probably going to fall through. I don't work for Volition and I don't know what their finances are like at all, but I damn well know that they cannot afford to have another AAA title fail, especially one with one of their biggest IP names attached to it. The only saving grace that this game is probably going to have is the gameplay itself, because the gameplay looks fun. It looks like a different version of Saints Row 3, or what maybe they had envisioned of Saints Row 3 before Saints Row 3 was even released, but unfortunately there were a lot of console restrictions that held Saints Row 3 back. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly like Saints Row 3 or Saints Row 4 for that matter, and it's definitely not going to be like Saints Row 2 just judging off what we've seen so far, but I definitely see that this is them reaching a potential that they perhaps could never reach in the past. I know a lot of this video has just been me being retrospective about my own experience with this series and just bashing on these new characters that have been released, and maybe perhaps I do have a bias, because over the years I've become more fond of the older Saints Row games than I have the newer ones. But I'm really passionate for the series, I'm very respectful for Volition, and I respect a lot of the things they've put out, even if some of the stuff isn't as honorable as past things like Saints Row 1 and Saints Row 2. It's just because I care. And it's because I'm a fan of this company and I'm a fan of this game franchise, and I want their reboot to do well. And I would hate for Volition to fall through, because if this company was to go down, Saints Row is going down with it. Anyway guys, that's the end of the video. If you guys like the video, leave a like, tell me what you think about the new Saints Row reboot, and I'll see you in the next one.